Hey everyone, it's Andrew from Phyrexia Coaching and Consulting here. I have a book from a gentleman that I used to work with, Mr. Andre Kaminski, working in agile transformations, DevOps environments. And I have to give Mr. Kaminski ample amounts of credit for his practice in developing organizations. And when he came out with a book and he mentioned that he was documenting his journey and journaling it, then he came out with the book. Wow, okay. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I was thinking that it was going to be potentially a small book, maybe not so many hundreds of pages. Then I got it today and I realized the throw weight of the thing. I gotta hand it to you, Mr. Kaminski. This is gold. Just look at the sheer number of pages. And for some of you who might be very skeptical about this kind of stuff, let me tell you that from a practitioner's standpoint, and I will reach over to my bookcase and just give you something to compare and contrast to. Let's go with here. So, of all the books that I have, and I have an umpteen number of coaching books, and I'm putting this together because I want to contrast a couple of things. This book here, Leadership Team Coaching and Practice, the reason I'm pulling this one for you because Professor Peter Hawkins is just amazing at what he does. And to get case studies for this work is solid gold because the case studies give us exposure into the practice. So I'm saying this is one of the top shelf books that I have in my bookshelf. And immediately I'm taking Mr. Kaminski's book. And the reason I'm showing you this is if we go into the book, and I just given it an early flip through to see what the structure of the book is like. And you notice that Mr. Kaminski gives you the reflection points. He tells you the story. He does it in the context of Aikido. He's been doing Aikido for a very long period of time. And during my time working with him, he always blends the concepts of Aikido in. And he has such a good way to understand the energy and the flow and what's happening within the room. And he's able to kind of match power levels of what's happening in the room in a way that everybody respects his points. And he's well knowledge and well versed on a lot of the agile practices and organizational practices. So what I like that he's done is he's placed the reflection points that you can contemplate and put them in the form of questions so instead of him telling you from up on high, he's giving you some things to think about. And from a coaching standpoint, this is the integration into practice elements that I want to highlight. He also gives you a summarization of the key insights of the story that he tells in the particular chapters, but you'll also notice that he gives you some insights into kind of the East meets West style practices by incorporating the elements of Aikido and what those elements mean. And he goes into explaining, what the technique is, and then he layers that into kind of that corporate environment of how might this technique then translate into these real world situations. And yeah, we're not going to be grabbing our coworkers and doing wrist locks across the table or throwing them around the room, but there is a way to incorporate the energy and the flow of the conversations and what's happening in the moment in a way that we can have perhaps a more constructive way of working through what's happening. So while that's not a full report yet, I just received the book. Again, what I'm saying is I've gone through, took a look at the structure of the book. It is very well structured. There's a lot of stories in here. and I'm looking forward to kind of doing more of a book report coming up and talking about some of the techniques and my takeaways as I go through the stories here. So I'm already giving you, if you're a coach practitioner and you're working in organizational designs, there's going to be a lot of really good information in this book. I can tell you, like, without cracking it open and going through some specific details, that there's going to be some really good stories. Working with Mr. Kaminski, he's got a very good storytelling capability. It's always compelling, and he's gone through so many places in the world that even when he was telling some of the fun stories over a pint or two at the end of a release planning or a retrospective, the stories were always fun, very compelling, and you know, I gotta hand it to him. I'm happy that he's here and continuing to do the work that he does and adding his work into the overall community of practice, so to speak.